Well, I had several abusers, but when I was 10, I had an abuser. Exact same situation. So when I'm reading this in Vanity Fair, I think, oh, I remember that, being taken to the park, that I was a part of causing myself to be abused. That's why I blamed myself till I was 42.
When you were 14, you lost a baby. You talked about that openly before.
Getting pregnant was a result of bad choices and not having boundaries, and the abuse, sexual abuse from the time I was 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and becoming a promiscuous teenager and running the streets and going to be put in the detention home. I thought before the baby was born, I'm going to have to kill myself. I'm going to have to.
Did you really?
Oh, for sure. For sure. My mother said, you can't stay here, so I had to move to live with my father in Nashville.
Did you ever tell your father that you'd been pregnant?
No,
Any
and my father, as a part of his decree about what's going to go on in this house and won't go on in this house, said to me, as I'm standing in the kitchen, the rules of the house, you're going to obey the rules. And I would rather see a daughter of mine floating down the Cumberland River, he said, than to bring shame on this family and the indecency of an illegitimate child.
Wow.
And he's saying that to me, and I know that I am pregnant. So I'm thinking, well, I'm just going to have to kill myself.
Did you come close to doing that?
You know, I did stupid things like, you know, drinking detergent and all that kind of crazy stuff. And when I was 14, you're having a baby out of wedlock, your life is over. I've done so many stories about women who were in relationships where they were battered, and they would say, I remember, you know, interviewing some famous ones once who said, oh, but he just shakes me. He just pushes, yeah. And you went through that and finally got to the point, too, where you realized this is really abuse.
Yeah, yeah. I got hurt by accident a lot.
Yeah.
It was that.
Oh.
It was, he didn't realize how hard he grabbed me or shook me or pushed me.
Yeah.
And I would fall and hit something, and then I'd be hurt. And it would be like, well, he didn't mean for me to hit that thing. He just thought he was pushing me.
That happened to me in my 20s, where he'd slam the door on my hand, or I'd accidentally and then one day I fell, and I fell in front of the mirror in the hallway, and I saw myself, and I started to cry for this woman that I had allowed myself.
You were out of your body.
I'm out of my body.
I bet
Does
you
that ever
can
happen
picture
to
that
you?
moment right now.
Yes, I can.
I can picture being thrown on the hood of a car like it was an hour ago. Yeah, and running from him, carrying my shoes and running from him, running into backyards trying to get away from him because I was afraid for my life. Yeah, it's so out of body. You're like, I'm not this woman. Who's this woman?
Yeah.
Why am I in this woman's body who's running from her boyfriend? This can't be me. Yeah.
And you always want to tell yourself that it's something else. Because when I grew up, I'd seen my cousin Alice being beaten by her boyfriend who beat her regularly, and I will never be that woman. And I held myself superior to that.
I'm not that kind of woman.
Not that kind of woman.
Yeah, and then you realize that there is no kind of woman.
There is no kind of woman.
It happens to all women.
Yes.
It's not, you know, who we picture. I think I had a really distinct picture of what I thought an abused woman looked like. Really, it's CEOs, and it's powerful, brilliant women.
Sometimes I'm in a boardroom or I'm in situations where I'm the only woman, I'm the only African-American person within, you know, a 100-mile radius. And I can see in the energy of the people there, they don't sense that I should be holding one of those seats. I can sense that. Yeah, of course. But I can never tell, is it racism, is it sexism? Because often it's both. I mean, the sexism thing is huge. This is Carolyn today. Half of her face is gone. It was literally blown off in a horrific crime. The man who pulled the trigger was her own boyfriend of many years. When the killer was revealed, nobody could believe it. Aaron, their minister, confessed to the brutal murder of his wife. The story of his wife Naomi's murder begins at 4:45 in the evening, 2003. She'd been napping before going to work for her nursing shift that night. Let me ask you this. Okay. Did you kill your wife?
It's obvious I did.
Okay.
Every 9 seconds, a woman is abused in the U.S., and every day, 3 women are murdered by their husbands or boyfriends.
This is the reality of an epidemic of domestic abuse that takes place in all races, all regions, and all across economic lines in this country. In fact, while you're watching this program, there will be an estimated 250 assaults on women in America.
It's a routine evening for Lieutenant Brian Garrett. Only 90 minutes into his shift with the Polk County, Florida Sheriff's Department, and 3 domestic violence calls have already come in.
How many domestic violence calls do you get on most nights?
Might not be unusual to have 6 or 8. Is this the first time this has happened?
22-year-old Shannon Way is 8 months pregnant with her boyfriend's baby.
He got pissed off at me and said I was attacking him, and then he started hitting me.
It's estimated 1.3 million women of all classes, all ethnic groups in the U.S. are assaulted by a partner every year. 1 in every 4 women will be on the receiving end of domestic violence at some point in their life. Teenagers aren't immune. 1 in 5 high school girls have been physically or sexually abused by a date.
He had kicked me in my head.
This 911 call was made after Barbara Hurt's boyfriend beat her after he came home from a court-ordered anger management class.
This is his fire pit.
37 years old, Hurt says her boyfriend, Anthony Civitarese, would beat her, beg for forgiveness, she'd take him back, and the cycle of abuse would start over. Court records show the violence only escalated.
He's busted my eye. I can't count how many times. My nose has been broken and busted and bitten.
Now in jail for domestic battery, Civitarese will be out next month.
What happens when he gets out of jail?
I have to change my identity, my name, my location where I stay, my hair, my looks. I have to just get away from him.
You're going to press charges?
I don't know.
As for Shannon Way,
Right now, at this point, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Since we're at this 1-year mark of the Me Too movement, can you share with us what you saw at those networks?
CBS News, I think it's clear from Ronan Farrow's excellent reporting that they have a real culture problem there. And the culture I found at 60 Minutes personally was very challenging and at times quite offensive, because I think obsequious subservience was a job requirement in order to thrive there for many women.